Okay, this week, after doing the work over the weekend and actually managing to figure out how to convert the data, that was quite an issue. I'm trying to do it creatively isn't my strong suit. Working with numbers, trying to fix a problem, but then you first have to. But it took a while to process. It was quite challenging to my usual things. I'm good with problem solving, but I need a problem and a practical solution. And changing an object based on data of its shape and function is a bit more artistic, in my opinion, than actually practical. So I'm adapting, I'm learning. So it's a bit difficult. So the feedback on Monday from Yvonne was not good. Long story short, she said to kill the baby. It probably had quite a bit to do with, because it looked like we got hung up on this one idea. That probably came across mainly because we didn't really have a lot on paper of different prototypes. It wasn't that we didn't have ideas, it was more of a case of we, aside from finding an object related to honey, aside from food and alcohol, like honey whiskey, for instance, aside from possible issues with that idea, such as getting like a bar manager and possibly ethical approval. So while it's still a possibility, but we kind of moved past it. And we didn't have a lot on paper that showed different prototype ideas. A couple of us did run into issues of actually trying to apply the data to the object. And because we couldn't figure out even just the concept of how to do it, like it took me 4 or 5 hours over the space of 2 days through the weekend I'll do half of it, of a method of how to convert the data into measurements and to apply it, because I had an idea in my head, and then because I did it for so long trying to get that process, I had to do it on Sunday. I then managed to finish it off and actually apply it to the object, so I actually had a blueprint in numbers, but it was a blueprint of a prototype, which is pretty good. So we also did look at 3D printing it, because it would have been a lot quicker way than actually machining it, since it's traditionally honey spoon is traditionally made out of wood. So for a final product, or for the actually show people for the submission, I would machine it. But for a prototype, we thought, we could just 3D print it. It would be easy. But in actual fact, there were some hurdles that Krishna told us about that we hadn't considered. So such as having to apply bracing so that it could support itself when you print it, the different ways you could print it, and then we also had to actually make it through like Fusion 360 or Sketcher, which there was another guy in the group who knew more about that and had more experience, and he'd been fiddling with it more. That I figured if I can do the blueprint and do the numbers, he can do it. He can make the digital copy and then 3D print it on Wednesday, since this was Monday. Not gonna work out so much that way. So end the session. After that, we get the feedback of killing the baby, and I found this quite frustrating. I kind of felt like I wasted a lot of time trying to figure out how to convert it. Not to say it wasn't a waste, because now I actually have an idea of how to apply the data and how to convert it to an object. So it wasn't a complete waste. It just felt like it. So I took a break. I went and bought myself a coffee, clear my head, walk around, think. Sat outside the class because the class was too noisy for me to think properly, and drank coffee, read a book on my phone while I slowly processed different and come up with different ideas. So, which going through like objects related to honey and bees, flowers, jars, cups, even if you use honey in drinks, food, candles or wax. I was coming up with a bunch of them, and I came up with a bunch more that night. Came back today, and we had some more ideas. Got everyone on Monday was going to go home and at least come back with one idea. I managed to come back with 4 different ones. A couple of them overlap, but like a comb, for instance, like a hairbrush comb. On the wordplay, honeycomb, comb, and you could just cut off kind of like the teeth of it to show basically a diagram. It would affect its function. Problem is our data for New Zealand was increasing for beehive numbers in particular. So since it's increasing, it's a bit hard to add on to an everyday object, but you can take off to show the new stuff. But it does give the wrong context because we were trying to show that they're increasing in New Zealand, so put a positive spin on it. But we came up with like a honey drip idea, such as drilling a hole in the lid of a bottle, and then and as the honey or possibly golden syrup, because it might turn out to be cheaper but similar consistency, drains through. If you had multiple of them, you can show different years. For instance, we also considered maybe a Coke bottle that has like a 5-foot stand for helping it stand up, and put a different hole in each bottom, in each foot, and then put a different jar underneath. And then what years where you have more honey, it would drain through quicker through a larger hole, and then at the end you look at the jars and go, that year had more honey. So might need to make a stand for that one. I'll think about it. But another idea was candles, like either different heights, so it'd still be a bar graph, but Ben's feedback as he's listening, as he heard this and was giving us a bit of feedback on it, was that by looking at the candle burning gives the user something different. So it gives them a different feeling, the experience of it. So it's still a bar graph, but because it gives it experience, it's actually okay. Turns out the honey dipper idea wasn't so bad. However, we will probably run into machining issues since the 3D labs aren't open during mid-semester break, so that would mean we'd have the rest of this week and the first day back to actually machine it. So we'll probably move on to these new ideas, but we'll have a look at that tomorrow. So yeah, at least we're back on the right track and have a better idea of what we're doing. Yeah.